lovely day!
Hey guys, Jim here. Welcome in once again. Today we're going to be taking a look at another new offering from Null Knives, and this is the fourth model that they have coming out. And I've had a chance to review two previous to this, the Raiden and the Voodoo. And as much as I like the Raiden, the Voodoo was my clear favorite. And this is a really interesting kind of hybrid between the two. You've got a lot of the same look in the blade that you had in the Voodoo, just a different grind on the swedge, or I should say on the harpoon. And now you're getting into a frame lock instead of a bolster lock. So that to me visually are the biggest differences, but we're going to go through a few of those and we're going to talk about the pros and the cons of this knife and where I think the strengths in the design lie and maybe where a couple of the weaknesses lie. And honestly, there really aren't any weaknesses that I've come up with so far. So all in all, it's going to be a pretty positive review. Now, the deal with this is these are going to be opening up for pre-order on September 21st, 2023, with an approximate delivery of about 5 months out. And the cool thing is, when you do the pre-order, you're going to save $20 off of what the normal street price is going to be on these when they drop out live. So let's take a good look at this. And, oh, God, I really think this is awesome. The feel of this definitely reminds me of the Raiden. And when you look at it, you're like, I definitely see Raiden for sure, because this is essentially a Wharncliffe version of the Raiden. Now, I tend to look at the blade a little bit more, and then I go, oh, man, that reminds me of all the things I loved about the Voodoo. Because this harpoon, this radical harpoon, the groove in the blade so that you can open it however you want, and the thumb studs on both sides, made it not only an aggressive, really great looking knife, but it made it very versatile. So it doesn't matter how you like to open your knife, except for flippers, you're going to be able to do that. And yes, I would love to see this as a flipper, but that is not in the cards. Now, this particular version that we're looking at here is the black camo carbon fiber, which is really, really cool. It's unique because it just looks like regular old black carbon fiber at a distance, and then when the light dances across it, you see these cool waves coming through. Really love that look. It shimmers in the natural daylight too, by the way. It looks fantastic. The back side is your black PVD titanium. And just like all of Sean's previous offerings, everything was done perfectly on these knives. The action is fantastic with a great detent, super smooth action, not completely drop shutty. It's not like a guillotine where it's going to take your finger off, but it's a nice controlled, nearly hydraulic feel as it closes on its own. You can get into the lock bar pretty easily. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of a cutout here, but you could still get into it nice and easily. And that reminds me, I have to get to the TLDW because I'm already starting to talk about pros and cons, and we've got to have this structured, right? All right, here we go, TLDW. Starting off with the pros, it's very easy to see. I am a huge fan of the overall design. I think that the handle shape, the blade shape, everything about this not only looks really good, but it's actually pretty comfortable. You do feel the pocket clip just a little bit in your hand. Another pro is the placement of the thumb studs. It's just in the perfect spot. Very easy to access, and I think I could even reverse flick it off the thumb stud. Yeah, what I've been doing is I've been doing it off of the blade cutout. But, oh, man, that action feels so, so good. Another thing that I love is on this particular combination, you get a really nice, clean hand rub satin. And there's a nice distinction between the harpoon swedge grind, the flats, and the primary bevels. They didn't wash it out and lose the crispness to the blade finish. Looks really, really, really good. Another pro is I like the fact that it's very minimally marked. You've got the Null Knives logo here in the lock bar relief cut. And then it says S90V somewhere. I think you can only see that when it's closed. Yeah. So there's the S90V marking. It's a really nice thing to see him step up into S90V. It's a really, really big deal. Fantastic steel. Holds an edge for a crazy long time. Good corrosion resistance. Just a flat out amazing steel that you're probably never even going to be pushing the limits of as an EDC user. Oh, I love this thing. And it's so incredibly lightweight. We'll leave it there for the pros. More pros will come up during the more of the review portion toward the end here. Cons. Are there any cons? Let's see. Hey guys, sorry for the interruption, but I promise I will make this very, very brief. I want to thank those of you that have joined and become channel members. You are helping to support the channel and helping to continue the growth. And if you've been considering supporting the channel in any way, shape, or form, because I do not have channel sponsors, I don't shill anybody's products, I don't get paid for anything, I don't do affiliate links, so everything is completely self-funded. If you'd like to help out and watch the channel grow and get more great content coming your way, please do consider becoming a member. I think the biggest con is just the fact that it's been popularized so much over the past few years that it is a pre-order. It's not a live drop, and that's nothing against Null Knives in any way. It's a great way to finance your project and order the correct amount of each configuration because you're ordering based on the orders that are coming into you. However, I know a lot of people are starting to feel kind of this pre-order fatigue. They'll have 3, 4, 5 knives on pre-order, and they're waiting 2 months, 3 months, 5 months, 8 months, a year to get certain knives. And I've heard the frustrations. I've listened to people talking about it in different groups and forums. And honestly, it's a great way to do it for the brand, for the business. Because like I said, you're not over-ordering on a particular version because maybe you fell in love with the version as the designer and other people latched on to other ones. Those sold out fast. Then you're left with a whole bunch of the one you thought was going to sell really, really well and you ordered 3 times the amount of, and that one wasn't quite the most popular version. I've made that mistake myself. I honestly don't think there's a bad version among them, but everybody's going to be different. The only other con, I'm really searching here, guys, because I'm not really finding a con on the actual design or the build of the knife because they did a fan-friggin-tastic job. No, I mean, I really don't see it. I'm trying to get my finger to get stuck on the tip, and that's not happening. Everything feels really, really good. They did a great job on finishing the carbon fiber. Milled lines in here look really, really good. Okay, I guess I can come up with one more con. It's not an uncomfortable knife in my hand. I have no problem with it whatsoever. But I could see some people that are not as into wild and crazy knives. They like very, very standard, like your typical Sabenza type of knife. And they might find this edge right here. If their finger hits it, they might go, oh, that's a little bit uncomfortable. If you're doing really, really hard cutting tasks, I could definitely see somebody saying that. I have enough room for my 2 fingers in here, and the other 2 drop on the backside. It's got a nice taper to it. I think it feels good, but just by sensing that that's there, I could tell that maybe there's going to be a nitpicker out there that goes, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. So there you go. That would be it for the cons for me. Now let's talk about the pricing for a second. So as I mentioned, this is the one they're going to be calling the black camo carbon fiber. With that, you get the hand rub satin blade, PVD lock side. There's also going to be a black and gold, where it's going to be, I believe the whole thing is titanium and it's all done in black with the gold accents, your clip and your back spacer. And that has a belt satin blade, so you're going to be getting probably the hand rub flats with the belt satin on the bevels. Then there's going to be a blue in satin, which is going to be obviously blue, all titanium anodized blue, belt satin blade, and the clip and the back spacer are going to be a matte bead blasted titanium. And then the static wash, as he's calling it, static wash titanium blasted and tumbled handles, with the dark acid stone wash with satin flats for the blade. Well, that's kind of nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty good too. So your lowest price on pre-order will be $310. That's for the static wash. And your highest price in the pre-order is for this one at $390. And I'm reading off the price list that Sean was kind enough to include. My memory is not exactly what it used to be, so it's much easier to just read off all those numbers right there off the paper. Now let's talk about a couple of the changes that Sean had noted. One is that the logo is going to be a little bit smaller and doesn't stand out quite as much on the production versions. The clip is going to be a little bit sitting a little bit lower to the body, and it's going to be canted up a little bit more straight. He says so that it will fall into the crease of your hand so you don't feel a hot spot. I'm not really bothered by it, but yeah, you could see where it hits me right here, and they're going to have it where it drops right in there. And he says that the harpoon is going to be a little bit narrower, so it's going to be dropped down for a sleeker profile. So if you like basically what you see here, there's only going to be some minor changes. And it seems to be a lot for the ergonomics and just a couple of small aesthetic touches. I think all the way around, I think this one was perfectly fine the way that it is. Oh, it definitely reminds me so much of the Voodoo. It's a knife that I'm so in love with. And I'm so excited for all the people that are just starting to get their Voodoos. You got to be going nuts. Got to be going nuts. What an incredible mail call that's going to be. Now, the name Raikou, as I was looking it up on the internet, you know, the internet is never wrong. There's a lot of varying definitions for it. Raikou is said to mean lightning or thunder. Another I saw says it's the name for the thunder as it follows the lightning, which kind of makes sense since the Raikou model follows the original Raiden, though technically it actually follows the Voodoo more directly. He's definitely keeping a theme with his naming, and I think that's really, really cool. And this really is a great follow-up to the Raiden. Now, I liked the Raiden a lot. Again, when you put them all side by side, I was much more a fan of the Voodoo, but I still like the Raiden a lot. And this being a Wharncliffe version of the Raiden with these, I seem to remember the Raiden having much smaller in diameter thumb studs. I like the size of these thumb studs a lot. They're robust. They're big enough to easily hit, but they're not getting in the way. They're easy to access. And I'm having a hard time remembering if the Raiden had jimping on the spine of the blade. I don't remember if it did. I want to say that it didn't, but maybe it did. All around, I think this is just a sexy, sleek-looking design. And he's got a way of creating some rather unique-looking designs. Everything at some point is derivative of something else. So if there's an element here where you're like,
well, I've seen harpooned Warncliffs before.
well, that's not the entire design, dude. Shut up. Everything as it comes together creates, in my mind, a very unique design. I think it looks aggressive. It looks futuristic. Fits good in the hand. It's got good balance. And the fact that it's only 3.6 ounces makes a huge difference. Now, I don't know if that's an enormous difference from the Raiden, because I just don't remember. It's been quite a while since I've handled it. But that is a good lightweight knife, especially for one this size. 3.45-inch blade, just under a 3.5-inch blade. So it's still got some good utility to it. It's got a good size for that. And you've got that nice big sharpening notch there to make things even easier to extend the life of the blade as you resharpen it. Now, I haven't carried the knife, but I have clipped it in the pocket, kind of walked around the house, taking it in and out, in and out, in and out of the pocket. And the clip works really, really well. That's another big thing for me. I always want to see a nice milled clip like this, but not everybody does it right. Sometimes they don't have the ramp angle correct. They don't have enough of a ramp, or they have too much of a ramp, or the pressure's way, 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 way too high. And it makes it kind of a pain in the ass. That's why a lot of people have kind of strayed from these milled clips, and they kind of go into those wire clips and just regular bent titanium clips, because they seem to be easier to have the right tension for everybody. And this definitely is more of a risk, but it operates just as good as it looks, in my opinion. I think it was a fantastic design. They executed it very, very well. The gear-shaped back spacer does not protrude at all from the sides of the frame, so it's flush fit. So even though you've got that cubic pattern there, you don't feel it at all. There's nothing sticking up and digging into your hand in any way, shape, or form. It's not like a gear-shaped or a gear pattern style backspacer where they tend to raise it a little bit to have a dramatic 3D effect, and sometimes you can feel it imprinting into your skin. None of that going on here, man. Blade centering on this one is perfect. The lockup is great. Nice and early without being precariously early. And like I said before, the carbon fiber is done extremely well. They did a great job finishing it. Feels really nice. Looks really good. There's that textured section on the lock bar, making it easy to unlock. And let's check out that detent while we're close up here. Sucks it in nicely. Just good job all the way around. Really, really like the knife. I think as far as the price goes, good deal, solid deal. Everybody that has handled the Raiden, everybody that has handled the Voodoo and spoken about them publicly has had nothing but great things to say about the quality. So I have no reason to believe that these will be any lesser quality. So for me, the price, totally good with it. It's not expensive. It's not uber cheap. It's kind of, it kind of falls in the middle in that mid-range where a lot of people are really, really comfortable spending their money. And if you're looking for something that's a bit outside of the box, if you have a lot of designs in your collection that are somewhat, I don't want to say basic because that sounds like I'm being derogatory, and I'm not, but If you have a lot of rather standard styled knives in your collection and you're looking to branch out a little bit but not get too wild and crazy, I think this is a really, really good way to go. And a good Wharncliffe design is really, really useful as a utility cutter. Really, really great for that. And that tip, oh, it just looks so good nestled into that frame. All right, enough oohing and eyeing for now. That's my thoughts on the Raikou. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video.